Expound.
And hello, and welcome to the Gaming Zone on Sonic Month. I am your host, as usual, Chriz, aka the Mole, and I'm going to do something a little different today. It's not going to be a video game review, it's going to be a review of a movie, which is why I have with me Marcus Shadow.
It's showtime.
He is our film reviewer after all, so why not? This is, of course, Sonic the Hedgehog, the movie. Now, before we go into it, it'd be worth pointing out this was actually a Japanese OVA put together as one film. It was Journey to Eggman Land and Sonic vs. Metal Sonic put together as one film. Yeah. So with that out the way, we can go straight to the story, and I'll let Marcus take away his thoughts first.
About the story? The story in and of itself wasn't terrible. Some of the execution was kind of there. But then again, this film was made in the 90s, so I can kind of give it a little latitude for that. The problems I really had with this movie was in the characters more than the story. Because the story was pretty solid. It's, basically Robotnik or Eggman laying a trap for Sonic, trying to get him killed, and he creates Metal Sonic using Sonic's own thought patterns and stuff. And he's like, "Ha! Now you're fighting yourself, but in a metal body that's superior to yours in every way." And Sonic overcomes Metal Sonic, of course, because he's Sonic, he's a good guy. So it's a pretty generic, good versus evil story, and it works. And I know I brought this up with Mole either when we were watching it or after we were watching it, and he said that it's kind of how Sonic is, but I kind of didn't like how Sonic was a complete asshole to Tails in the beginning, and to the guy coming saying, "Sonic, I need your help," and Sonic's like, fuck off. I'm like, really? You're Sonic the Hedgehog. You don't tell people who are coming to ask you for your help to fuck off. That's just not right.
Yeah, but like I said, remember, it's Sonic. He's got to be cool. He's meant to be carefree, and he doesn't give a crap. He's Sonic. Woo! Admittedly, they've toned that down more as the games went on, but around the time this came out in the 90s was around the Adventure Times and Sonic Heroes and stuff like that. And yeah, Sonic, when they did him, it was all about having the 90s attitude about him, which is, yeah, I don't give a shit.
Well, the other thing, too, is it felt like, you're not Tails, so I don't care about you. And even when Tails was like, "Sonic, we have to help him," he was like, "Yeah, he's not you, I don't care about you." But the instant Tails is like, "Sonic, help me!" Boom, Sonic is there. I'm like, favorites much?
Yep. Although I'll cut away with the categories and shit and just go down to it, because like you said, no, the story, it's kind of cliched and stuff.
Right.
And we'll just cut down to overall opinions and various shit and just shoot the shit basically for a little bit.
Yeah, pretty much.
But I will point out, I hate one of the changes.
What's that?
Well, two changes I don't like to this. One was Eggman Land being referred to as Robotropolis to tie in with Sonic the Animated Series.
Well, that, and they probably wanted to tie it into Dr. Robotnik, and Robotnik Land just probably didn't sound as cool as Eggman Land.
Kinda. The other thing with this is it's basically almost an adaptation of Sonic CD in parts of it.
Fair enough.
Why the fuck did they do Sarah instead of Amy? I mean, come on. It's kind of stupid, and it's a little creepy too at times.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, because we're going to talk mostly probably about the dub, but did not like the voice acting.
No. Especially Sonic's. That was the next thing I was going to mention about Sonic, is that the voice actor for Sonic apparently couldn't decide what accent to give him. I'm serious, man. Half the time he was Australian. The other half the time he was some mix of British and American. I was like, what are you?
Yep. See, the one I didn't like the most was Tails, which, while Tails normally has an annoying voice anyway, this one, it was just graining on you.
Yeah.
It was so annoying. It was basically up there with, what if Gilbert Gottfried was to sing "Never Gonna Give You Up"?
I want to see that. That'd be hilarious.
It's that type of irritatingness.
Now you have in my head. Now you have in my head. Iago singing "Never Gonna Give You Up."
You're welcome. But we had Knuckles, which I like Knuckles in this. Knuckles with his little cowboy hat, which was awesome.
Crocodile Dundee hat.
Yep.
Which I expected the Australian accent to come out of him when I saw that hat, and then he like had a flat accent. I'm like, really?
I will point out to you, by the way, as well, there was a slight translation error with Knuckles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. At least especially in the first release of this film, and it carries over a little bit to the DVD extras. He was not known as Knuckles the Echidna.
Okay.
He kind of jacked my name. He was known as Knuckles the Mole.
Really? Oh, well, that explains why he like digs all over the place.
He was also referred to. No, in the Japanese one, he's referred to as an Echidna. He's meant to be Knuckles. It's just, for some reason, in the translation of Echidna, they turned it into Mole. They even called him an accomplished flyer, even though he glides. Although he kind of flies in the film, I guess. But on the DVD bios and in some of the other stuff, there's even a scene with a parody called Mr. Mole featuring Knuckles. And it's like a whack-a-mole game. It's like, yeah, that's kind of a slight fuck up.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
It's like Metal Sonic was a slight fuck up as well, because in this film he was referred to as Hyper Metal Sonic, and he was basically just Metal Sonic. Yeah, they worded out how, oh yeah, he's been boosted up and stuff, but in terms of how the fight went, it went pretty much the same way it goes when Sonic faces normal.
Yep,
Although I did kind of like the psychic link between the two.
that was interesting.
About I said it during the film. When we were watching it, but I don't know if you saw me say that bit, but I mentioned it when we were watching it with Geeky Girl. Of when Metal Sonic's got his legs off and shit, and he's covered in lava and stuff like that as he's dying. I just typed out. I just typed out the sentence, or I may have said it. I can't remember. Oh, I said it because you guys watched it at different times to me, but I just said it on voice of. But you were the chosen one.
I heard
It
that.
was, yeah. I just quoted Star Wars. I'm sorry, it looked like the Darth. It
Don't
looked like
do
the
it,
Darth
metal.
Vader
I have
scene with the
high ground.
fire. Yeah. Uh,
It's true. There can be
hello,
one.
hello, yeah, hello, future Metal Sonic. Your father wanted me to give you his golden ring.
My precious. Come on, when you said golden ring, I had to do it.
Yep. But like I said, it's hard to. It's not the worst comic book film of all time,
No.
and that makes me sad. It's not the worst comic book film of all time. It's far from the best.
Yeah. But the thing about it
But
is it's 90s cheese. And I think that's
it,
why it can't be ranked among the worst. It's
it's not just anime cheese. It's not just 90s cheese. It's 90s anime cheese.
yeah, exactly. So
Which
for who
yeah,
it's made, it works.
yeah, it worked, and the audience. I think the audience at the time may have enjoyed it. And I'll be honest, I have it on DVD. I pop it in now and again, and I watch it. It's cheesy, it's bad, but I'm a big enough Sonic fan. I enjoy it. However, I will say, if you don't like the Sonic video games, you'd want to avoid this film.
Yeah, or
Just because.
if you're a Sonic purist, you may want to avoid this film.
Possibly, but and the animation on it as well looks fucking awesome.
Yeah, the animation was good.
The animation reminded me of, and you can check it out. It's available on my Sonic Month Top Sonic video games when I talk about that game in particular. But it reminds me of the intro to Sonic CD,
Okay.
which I like that anime style. It was kind of cool.
Don't think I've
But
ever played that.
But you should do it. It's awesome. But yeah, the thing with this one though, like as I mentioned, with the Sonic fans will enjoy it. Sonic fans will enjoy it because it has enough elements of Sonic and stuff in there that you're probably gonna enjoy. And there was a few scenes cut out for the dub, but still, it was still enjoyable.
It
It's still enjoyable if you like Sonic. If you don't, then all you're gonna see is a bad film and just not give a shit.
pretty much it's kind of like Power Rangers. The reason we like the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, aside from the nostalgia glasses, is because of the '90s cheese. It works for the '90s cheese, but
Yeah,
if
it's
you
like
look at it purely as a show, yeah, you're probably not gonna like Power Rangers. Just like this
yeah.
movie, you look at purely at what it is. It's not a good movie, but it's Sonic and it's '90s anime cheese. So for that reason, it's a guilty pleasure.
And I was saving this just for you,
Okay.
Marcus, at the time we were going to review this. If I can find it, where is it? Damn it. I hate some stuff like that where you can't pull it up. This was from one of the deleted scenes. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Yeah. How big of a dick is Sonic there?
What the fuck?
For those of you who can't see it, I'll probably try and include this in the actual video if I'm adding photos and stuff to it. But in one of the deleted scenes that was available on the early VHS copies of this film, Sonic literally is so filled with 90s attitude, he flips off Eggman with the middle finger a la Stone Cold Steve Austin. Well,
Ah,
Sonic 316 says, I just kicked your ass.
there you go.
And it's made funnier because Tails next to him is going with his tongue out in like a Goku like child pose, and Sonic's just like, yeah, fuck you. But how would you rate this film if you had to put a number on it, but on the grand scale of things?
Out of 5 or out of 10?
Out of 10.
I'd probably rate it a 6. It's still a fun movie. It's just not very good.
Yeah, I'd probably make it about. I'd probably rank it about between a 6 and a 7. So I'll average it off and say 6.5. But yeah, like you said, it and like we said, it's enjoyable if you like Sonic, but that's pretty much it. Which means at least there's something there for you. It's not like say the Mario film where if you like Mario, you still hate that film.
Yeah.
In fact, if you like Mario, you may hate that film more. But
Review coming
it,
soon.
yeah, which we will be talking about the Super Mario film on XGR eventually. Woo! But yeah, it's a case of yeah, they could have done so much better with it, and they could have included like I mentioned, like Amy and stuff. They could they could have made it a little bit truer to the games, but and most of the problems with this may come from the dub because you have to think as well that like we said, this was like what 1999-ish when the dub was done.
Right.
In 1999, how many decent animes were actually dubbed?
Um.
Not that many, because as a rule with anime in the 90s, it was no. So you got some good dubs, you did, but it's like, for example, in like Dragon Ball Z, when that was in the 90s, Dragon Ball Z, you had Hell for Infinite Losers and it's just really bad shit in that one too from the actual dub. It was only like 2000-ish onwards, like with the rise of like the success of like Pokemon and then Dragon Ball Z, when we then started to get better adaptations of Dragon Ball Z with the same people, and where animes nowadays aren't as badly dubbed. But
Right.
back then, it seemed more like a lot of stuff, especially something like that, which is OVA. It was like, let's just release it. Let's just fucking dub it and just move the fuck on. Let's not put effort into it. Let's just dub it.
Well, back then, anime wasn't that prevalent in quote Western society. Unquote. It was in its relative infancy. When you get into the middle of the 2000s onward, like around now it's like the golden era of anime in Western civilization, quote unquote. you know. And because it is so prevalent now, and there are so many fans of it now, people who acquire these IPs and dub them, they're like, well, shit, there's so many fans of these, we better fucking do this right, or they're going to be on us.
Yep.
But back then, nobody really even knew what anime was, so they're like, we don't care, it's going to make us money regardless. Let's do it on the cheap.
Yep. And more power to him. It worked.
Yeah,
I mean, it's very much the film's very much a product of its times.
this is true. Very true.
But this was our little short review of Sonic the Hedgehog, the movie. But I was your host, Chriz, aka The Mole. And of course, joining me was the X Pound Eggman himself, Marcus Shadow.
Wouldn't that be Rick, Thor, or Jim?
Okay, the X Pound Miles Prowler himself, Marcus Shadow.
Okay, I'll accept that. Thanks for having
Oh, you'll accept Tails. What happened to you?
me.
uh,